What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745, and in this video I'm going to hopefully help you decide on whether or not to buy the new 64 gold item. Before we begin this review though, I do want to thank Agent Seraph One, who in part helped bring you this video. So let's hear it for him.
Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
The item in question this time around is a weapon. And with that comes a few caveats. If you are a lower level agent, it is always safer to buy a gadget rather than a weapon, because you're going to outlevel it, which means it will do significantly less damage. Now this ultimately rests on a few factors like how fast you plan on leveling. However, with this weapon we have a special case. So in my opinion, all of that isn't even going to come into play. At least not with the Hexenjaeger. Don't get me wrong, damage is one thing, but you're going to be buying this weapon for a lot more than its damage. So why is this weapon worth using in the future and even for lower level agents? First of all, because it grants Pentecostal Oath. In other words, all allies will gain magic warding. This incredible buff is granted at the beginning of the fight, prior to using the weapon, and it's going to last as long as your agent's alive. Now if you don't know what magic warding does, it causes your team to take reduced damage from magic attacks, and the reduction is 50%. That's a huge damage reduction. So we've already crippled magic users to some extent, but this protective buff also prevents the following debuffs: Cursed Mirror, Bane, Crimson Bands, Dark Void, Death Frost, Hexed, Soulfire, the Curse of Angelob, Trickster, and Null's Meteor Swarm. In other words, it's really going to help out against Null and Enchantress, but many other heroes as well. Now the only other weapon that does this is the Skeptic, which many of you may have. I also have it myself. It's been extremely important to have over the last few seasons. For anyone who doesn't have that weapon, let me just say right now, this is a 100% must buy. If you don't even have the Skeptic, then you definitely should pick this weapon up. But for those of us who do have the Skeptic, let me tell you why I think in most cases this weapon is better. Sure, the Skeptic was great, but it does little damage, and unless you're using a tech team, it only really applies combat data. That lowers evasion, but that's about all it does outside of magic warding, and like I said, unless you're using a tech team. The Hexenjaeger on the other hand applies burning, so they'll take damage every turn, and their defense is reduced. It also applies cower. This says a 20% chance for attacks to fail, and the enemy to cower in fear. But that 20% we all know is much higher. Cower will kick in all the time, and it's going to make your opponent miss their attack. So right there, this weapon is better. It's going to offer you more, but that's not where it ends. The final debuff, Hot Seat, says applies Soulfire and causes additional damage when magic abilities are used. First of all, Soulfire will remove beneficial statuses. Secondly, every time the enemy tries to use a magic ability, they are going to take damage. Now this is going to hurt many characters in this game, but it is an absolute Enchantress stopper. It's so anti-Enchantress that I may have to change my defensive team. Just imagine every time she fires magic missiles, which is at least twice, but oftentimes more, per turn, she'll be taking damage. I guess they heard our complaints about her and they thought, well, we'll just put out a 64 gold weapon. So here it is, the Hexenjaeger. But don't just take my word for it, I'll show you it in combat. Alright, so here we are with the Skeptic and we're going to replace that, and then we'll search for an Enchantress team. Don't get me wrong, this weapon will help out against a number of different heroes, and agent weapons as well in this game. But Enchantress is going to be our perfect guinea pig. So we'll go ahead and see if we can find one in a practice match. And that really shouldn't be that difficult. By the way, my agent setup is very support based right now. And that's just how I've been running them this season. To be honest with you, early in the season, the fights are really easy, so I don't worry about it that much. Oh, and one other change that I did make is I'm using the Empowered Infiltrator costume. That way I can gain combat reflexes and still hit Enchantress with the Hexenjaeger, even if the enemy agent is a protector. Now unfortunately in this match, Enchantress is going before our agent, but as soon as we get a chance we're going to put Hot Seat on her. I for one can't wait to see the damage it does. The only other things that I should mention is I've been experimenting with Red Hulk's E-ISO. I do have both of them, but right now I'm using the Quick and the Boom Shakalaka. His new one is nice, but I just wish I could use all three. It's a tough choice. Ares is just there. I mean, he does have an AoE Despair, like the new Gold Sail weapon. And by the way, I'm not going to be able to get that, but if you can, and you planned on buying gold anyways, it is a nice bonus. So hey, I say go for it. Especially if you're getting the 5th equipment slot and picking up a Hexenjaeger. You'll get bonus gold and a sweet weapon. Alright, well my agent's finally up next. And what we're going to do is we'll use a hailstorm rather than exhaust the enemies. And that's just because I want to see Enchantress use her magic missiles. Normally I would just use the fire tornado. It doesn't help us out with Pestilence or the enemy agent, but we're trying to really get a feel for the Hexenjaeger, so it's worth it. We're also going to use quick reflexes, so now we have a stealthy attack. This allows us to bypass the enemy agent. So now Hot Seat is on Enchantress and we'll see that coming up very soon. Already throughout this battle though, we've been saved from magic debuffs. The dots from magic missiles would be really nasty, but magic warding cuts all of that out. And of course, Red Hulk is an absolute monster. He can basically just win you the fight from Bulwark alone. And when I have his new E-ISO on, he won't get stunned from Meltdown. So I would just use Bulwark again and let it go from there. Then with my Ares, after using his level 6 quick action, Personal War, we're going to use his level 2 which has an AoE Despair. This also really hurts Enchantress. And many of these Enchantress teams have a lot of heals as well. So that just cuts it right out. Now as a counterattack, Enchantress fires, and she takes 5,265 damage from Hot Seat. So that is a massive hit. She even has a cower proc because of the Hexenjaeger. And by the way, I can tell you her healing from her E-ISO will not make up for that Hot Seat damage. So it completely negates those annoying heals. This thing is an absolute lifesaver against her. Because of that alone, you can probably already tell, I think this weapon is worth buying. But certainly it's going to help against way more than just Enchantress. It will help protect your team against all magic users, magic weapons, gadgets, you name it. And all future magic users and weapons. So just keep that in mind, and also the fact that you're not really using it for its damage, at least not its outright damage. So it won't even matter if you're a lower level agent. It's still going to be worth buying and equipping, and you can even equip it later, after you level up, for its effects. So yeah, if you were on the fence, I say pick it up. It has my seal of approval. I think it's better than the Skeptic, and I'm replacing mine permanently. And if you don't have the Skeptic, it's an absolute must buy. Now as for this fight, we are coming pretty close to the end. And even though we made a bad choice with Red Hulk and got him killed, we're still going to pretty easily win this. For the rest of the week we have quite a few spider themed videos. And we're going to have a Secret Wars unboxing. By that I mean the latest Collector Core box. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe, please leave a like, comment, and as always, thank you all for watching. Until next time, good luck, and take care.